Growing up in small town Wisconsin, there wasn't much to do. Park Falls, Wisconsin has a population of about 2,000 people. As you'd imagine, there weren't a ton of car enthusiasts up there when I was younger. When I was young, I focused most of my time and attention to radio-controlled things. That included airplanes, cars, helicopters, boats, I mean, you name it, anything RC, pretty much. It was a hobby that I shared with my parents, and I'd definitely say that it's what definitely got me into figuring out how things worked and tearing things apart and understanding the mechanics of it, and really got me started working with my hands, things like small engines, electrical systems, all that. As you can imagine, Fast and Furious, Need for Speed, all that sort of stuff were pretty big influence for my interest in cars to begin with. I remember pouring a ton of hours into Need for Speed, Underground 2, Most Wanted. Those are probably the ones I played the most of. I also remembering that having an influence on some of the people in the town as well in the 2000s when I was younger. There were a handful of Eclipses, Civics, I think Cobalts, I think there was a Jetta that would roll around all the time, and they would show up at the one car show that our town had. And I absolutely loved seeing those cars. They were just so different from everything else, and I always looked at them as those are real life versions of what I've played in the video games, what I'd seen in the movies, and I knew that one day I had to have something like that. However, as the years went on and those people graduated from high school and moved on with their lives, so did the cars. By the time I was old enough to drive, there really weren't any of those kinds of cars or those people that were into those kind of cars around anymore. It kind of faded away. It wasn't the trend anymore, I guess. My name is Alex Gelina, and I drive a 2013 Scion FRS. My first car was a 2005 Dodge Neon SXT. It was actually my parents' old car. I pretty much just ended up taking it. And I did so many stupid things to that poor car. I had underglow, a random eBay exhaust intake, all of that. And after I got that all out of my system, I knew that I had to get something different. And I was dead set on getting a second gen Mitsubishi Eclipse. I ended up finding one pretty local. It had a blown engine. The guy just kind of had it sitting in a garage, and he was just kind of ready to get rid of it. Me, still really new to everything, thought it was a fantastic idea to just dive in head first. I mean, I was looking for a second gen Eclipse, and here was one for pretty much free. He just wanted to get rid of it. So now I was 16, 17, didn't know a whole lot about cars, honestly, let alone working on them and rebuilding a whole engine. I ended up taking the car, and I remember being just so excited. This was my car. I got to work on this car. I'm gonna build this car, and I finally had one of those cars that I always wanted. Being from a small town did have its perks, however. I was fortunate enough to be able to take shop classes in high school, starting with small engines and then autos, and we had metals classes and stuff in there too, learn how to weld a little bit. I was able to learn how to work on cars by working on my own Eclipse during school, which I thought was the coolest thing. The car did need quite a bit, needed a new engine, body parts, respray, miscellaneous things here and there that were missing. It was a learning experience that it absolutely kicked my ass. But I enjoyed every second of it. The Eclipse introduced me to the Wisconsin car scene. I found a little Facebook group back in 2014 called the Wisconsin Car Enthusiast Club. The group really started growing fast, insanely fast, and eventually events started being held around Wisconsin, different parts of the state. My now fiance and I would try to hit up as many of those events during the summer as possible, which typically meant driving anywhere between 2 to 3 hours one way to make it to wherever the event was being held. So it usually meant kind of heading out on a Friday night, going staying at a hotel, attending the event, and then driving back the same day. As much as I loved the Eclipse and the memories that were made with that car, it was definitely time for something new. I wanted something that was new. It was a blank canvas, something clean with no rust. Like, that was a huge one. And something that I can just enjoy as much as I enjoyed the Eclipse when I first got it. 2 months into my job as a packaging designer, I went and bought a 2013 Hot Lava FRS on my lunch break. And as stupid as that sounds, it really came down to I was driving by it like every day. It had been there for a while, and it was long enough for me to become intrigued enough to just like stop in and just ask like, yo, what is going on with this car? Like, what kind of information you got on it? And it turns out it was a one-owner manual car with less than 16,000 miles on it. Took it for a test drive, and I was instantly sold. It was completely stock, checked off everything on my list. The only mistake that I made when I bought the car is that I bought it in October. And if you know Wisconsin, like, we would like to store our cars around the winter, and it was like 3 weeks later that I had to put the car that I just bought away for like 6 months. It was the following spring, I realized that I wasn't enjoying my job. And as any younger car guy with access to a camera and the internet would do in that situation, I went and started my own YouTube channel. I'd gather some parts over the winter, which included the header, exhaust, like a tuning tablet, some other things here and there. And I started doing install videos and some random vlogs of events, of cruises and stuff that we would go to and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to make that like my full-time thing. That was my goal. If I could do that for a living, like I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I did that throughout the summer of 2018, and I had a ton of fun doing it. If I had a bad day at work, I'd just come home, work on the car, and do a video. And it just made me enjoy the car so much more than I already did. It was by the end of August, and I was scrolling through on Facebook, and I saw a job posting shared by the founder of the Wisconsin Car Enthusiast Club that I've been hanging out with for so long, and that just so happens to be Alex Martinez. The job posting was for a videographer position for Fitment Industries. Obviously, I kind of lost my shit a little bit. I'd been following Fitment Industries for quite a while. I'd watch videos daily, usually during my lunch break when I just want to kind of like disconnect from everything a little bit. And I knew that like I had to at least take my shot at doing it. Like, I wasn't super experienced, but fast forward almost 2 years now, I am now the operations lead for Fitment Industries, and I love what I do every single day. It's what my goal was, and I've actually achieved it, and the car has helped me get there. I love being in videos. I love working with the team that we've built. Everyone here is just so passionate about what they do every single day, and it shows in their work. It shows them when they show up to work. Like, it doesn't feel like a job. If it wasn't for cars, I don't think I'd be where I am now. I think about that a lot. Like, I really do. If I didn't have that outlet of creativity and the ability to express myself, I don't really know what I'd be doing right now. It's honestly crazy to think about. I think we all kind of realized the same thing recently here as a team when we were looking back at some older photos. When I was going to events around Wisconsin when I was even in high school, it was Alex and his team that were hosting those events. If you look back in the pictures from those shows or the meets, like I'm standing off to one side in this big group photo, and not too far away is Steve Miller, the guy behind the camera right now filming this. And then, you know, it's kind of crazy to think about, but then you look a little closer, and then there's like right in the middle of the crowd, there's Dakota, who actually had set up the camera to take the group picture, like to begin with. And somehow, we have all ended up under the same roof, doing what we do and doing what we love every single day. And that's because of cars.